Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to be putting some modifications into the IR60 build. We have a bunch of stuff here, and if you want this truck, subscribe to win it. Once we hit 10,000, I'm going to pick one lucky winner to receive this vehicle. After that, we're going to continue to give away vehicles and more products. So please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get to the fun.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be some mixing and matching. I am not entirely sure if we're going to be able to get this Injora servo to fit, as it is quite tall, and if the wheels collapse, we might hit the hood. Originally, I had bought this for my Tarantula build because I wanted heavier or stronger steering for this. So we might put that servo in here and take the servo that's here and put it into there. We are waiting still on parts for this truck. I'm waiting for tire inserts to fit these tires. I really like these tires. They're a smaller, I think they're a 60 millimeter is what they are. And I love the look of them. The tread pattern's great. It's like a J Concepts hold or a Mickey Thompson Pro X pattern. So I really do like those. We are still waiting on the new transmission and the brushless setup. So we still got a few parts waiting to come in. They should be here in the next week. So right away, we've got our Injora links. These are high-riser stainless steel link. Now, normally when I buy these in this size, you get your eye bearing or whatever you want to call them, and then your rod ends. But now I've got these pieces. Now normally you'd have some sort of rubber on the end of these eyelets, but this is not rubber, this is plastic. So I'm wondering if these are actually spacers to sit on the end of the rod. I really don't have instructions for these, as most cases this type of part doesn't come with any. So we're gonna have to find that out together. Alright, so our Injora ESC is not gonna work as our suspension doesn't fully collapse, as you can see right there. So it is hitting the top of the hood. So we're gonna probably just remove that right out of there. So we're just gonna take that out and we're gonna trade that up with the Tarantula. So it looks like these spacers are actually spacers for making your links longer. So in case you need to know, that's what I found they're for anyway, because it's the only thing that makes sense. Okay, just before I get this finished up, I'm going to go ahead and connect everything and center out our servo here. So I've got this trim zeroed out to 0, and we should be good to put the servo horn on now. Alright, we got the 11 kilogram Injora servo inside of the Tarantula now, and that, I'm supposing, is the reason why they built this hood, is to fit that servo specifically, because it is way up in there. And I do have this set up for a lower profile, so I think I might have a little bit of rubbing on the lip on the inside, so I might remove that, but shouldn't be too bad. So now my Tarantula has much more power in the front end, as we can see, and so that's a strong enough servo where I'm going to be happy with that. Alright, let's finish up with the IR60. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put our 59mm Injora shocks together. I've got a good amount of compression on them, and I think that should be a good spring rate right there for the rear. And we also got some flex blades. Now, I haven't used these before, so I'm going to play around with them and see what I can do. And if you haven't used these flex blades before, these ones are from Injora. and they're actually marked on where they're supposed to be. Like this would be right lower rear. These ones would be front lower rear, and so on and so forth. So those are the bottom pieces. And what happens is you put these brass bushings in, and the shock swings up and down with the same compression ratio. It just allows it to swing at a higher percentage. So that would be your top. Now, I don't think you need to use both. I think you can just get away with using one, like the top or the bottom. So again, we're going to play around and see what we can do. So for the application that I'm using here, we're going to use these spacers that we got from the link set, and we are going to put those between the shocks and the chassis, as the top of the shocks will be rubbing otherwise, because this is not the stock chassis. These upper arms here, they are meant for the stock mounts for the stock chassis as well. So we're only going to be using the bottom ones, and maybe just for the rear. So I'm going to finish putting this together, and I'll give you a show on what we're doing. Okay, so here you can see that our shocks are at like an increased angle. This really allows for lower support while it's climbing. Look how much it's going to come down. Like that's a lot of flexing. So that gives you an idea what's going on. I probably will have to put a limiting strap on that, so it doesn't come down as much, because what'll happen is the truck will just flip over as it comes down hills. But that'll really help out with the gain of having a much taller shock in there. And then yeah, that's like really ridiculous. It's like, I'm gonna be curious to see how that drives. So you can see here with the wheels that it gets a nice low LCG now on the rear. So we're gonna have to do something about the front. I mean, I'm not really gonna have that much room to play with. The steering arm's already up against the chassis there, so it's gonna be interesting. But in case you're wondering, these are Injora brass wheels. I just painted them in order to kind of match the color of the truck itself. So I have decided I'm going to use the lower flex blades on the front, and what I'll do is I will definitely be putting limiting straps on both the front and the rear. That way we can flex a lot, but also hold the suspension up. And I think that'll do just fine. All right, as you can see, she definitely has a much lower stance on her. But that being said, she's also got a lot more articulation. Like, boom! That's a lot of work there. So before, like that's a lot. I'm like, I bet she could almost reach the top of the pop can here. Well, she can reach about that much. So, but that's a lot. That's way more than she should probably be able to do. Might have to throw some grease in the back, or loosen that up just a little bit. Front seems pretty good, but the rear's a little sticky. But we'll see. Once I put limiting straps in there, it should come back down a lot easier. They're just gonna kind of bungee back, and the idea behind that's to keep her low, but still allow her to stretch each side out more. Okay, so the only thing that we're going to be doing here is we're tying a hair elastic underneath the upper links on the axle, and then what we're doing is we're going to tie it into the chassis. So I actually cut this hair tie, and we're going to adjust it accordingly to how much resistance I want coming back up. And we're pinching it between the chassis and the plate for the mount for the body. And we're doing this on both sides. So essentially what you're going to have here is it comes underneath the top upper links, and then it pinches, and then now we can use this as a drawstring to adjust how we want it, and that'll essentially give us what we need. That way it comes back. It's not gonna just like hang out like crazy town. Actually, and I think that might actually be a good length there. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish tightening that up, and then we're gonna do the same thing to the front. Nice bit of retraining. It's not gonna fall the way out, causing your truck to flip over. So yeah, we're gonna do the same thing to the front. That way, when you're crawling up a hill, you know, your truck doesn't end up tilting back too much. And there we have it, guys. Not hanging down like a crazy madman anymore, but we still got all the articulation in the world that we want. So that worked out quite decent. In fact, the tires still rub on the body here, so, but not much I can do about that besides cut it out, and I don't really want to do that. I really like the style of this Toyota-esque vehicle. But you can see there we got the tie downs there, and then we got the same thing up front, goes up and it's tied into the frame as well. So it's a good setup. So pretty decent. All right, guys, that's it for today, and we are still waiting for the electronics to come in. And as per normal, we ended up with a whole bunch of extra parts. So those are going to go into my mini crawler bin, and we'll add those to something else whenever that arrives. But all right, until next time.
I forgot.